So we're here with Matt Gonzalez, owner and head coach at Blaze Baseball in his brand new facility. We're going to take a tour of the facility and show you guys around what they do and what they're all about. So Matt, thanks for having us out here. Do me a favor and walk us through, just like we're a parent for the first time doing a tour of the facility.
Come on, welcome to Blaze Baseball. We moved in here about a month ago. We've got a lot more parking for all the parents that were with us at our last spot. We ended up with about 8,000, a little over 8,000 square feet, which is a double from where we were last year. And we've got kind of our retail section here. When you walk in, we've got our coaches' locker room or office. So you'll kind of, if you're coming to get instruction or if you're coming in for practice, your coaches will be in here. They've got kind of a whiteboard and kind of game planning stuff they can do, write their lineups.
Okay.
We kind of come through here.
How much merchandise do you guys sell?
We're selling a good bit. So we just opened that up here about a couple weeks ago, and then this is just a showroom, so it's like one of everything.
Okay.
You go onto the online portal and you can order it and stuff. Yeah, you don't take it from here, but it's just a little bit of one everything. You can try it on, check it out.
Get a feel for it, and then go online.
Yep, kids section, female section, and male section. So we've got a lot of stuff. It's pretty cool. We've got just some tables and stuff. Parents like to come in and work on their computer. We try to do it, if they're in a lesson, we allow them to go back there and do stuff and watch their kid. But when it's like a team Blaze practice, we try to keep them out here because we'll have 20, 30 kids in there with all our coaches. Try to keep it not too crowded.
You have to kind of stagger them through here.
Yeah, kind of. Here's 3 spots they can sit. Here's a bunch of spots, and we got a parent room in here with a window. Plenty of room for parents to come in and sit down and kind of check it out. And so they're not on top of our coaches or our players out there during practice.
So if you have to have a parent meeting or
so then you could come into my office here if we have a parent meeting, or if you need to come sit in the principal's office, there it is.
Okay.
Just kind of a little.
I like the
place.
jersey.
Yeah, so that was my mom's idea. She came in. It's been sitting in her basement since I graduated 10 years ago.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You played a little pro ball too, right?
I did, yeah, with the Braves until 2018.
Okay.
And then hung it up, and I got into travel ball.
What position did you play?
It depends on the year. So I was a utility guy. So in college I was second, third, and left. For the Braves, pretty much second, third, and left, a little bit of right.
Okay.
Kind of moved around a little bit.
Okay.
So I ended up being in left field. I was the guy. So Ronald Acuna got called up. I was his replacement in high A in left field. And then we had Austin Riley was on that team at third. And so we had some good players.
Nice stuff.
So
you focus on anything when you're coaching? Is anything in particular you focus on?
Defensive wise, I kind of like jack of all trades, master of none type of deal. So if they want to come in and they need a catching lesson, I can do it. I was drafted as a catcher 1 year. I can do the infield stuff. I can do the outfield stuff. I've got great guys that do pitching stuff. Brandon Taylor does a great job hitting. Nathan Volpe does my pitching stuff, and then Justin Evans does like defensive and pitching stuff. Okay. So I kind of send them off to my specific guys.
Okay, great.
But,
let them know exactly what kind of things you guys specialize in.
Yeah. And then this is where we kind of open it up. We have 6 cages. We have 3 hitting tunnels. They're about 40 feet long. They're really high, so we can also move the nets back. Now it just becomes one big arena for defensive stuff. You can hit sideways this way, and you've got a lot of room where you can see ball flight. And in the back, we've got 3 full-size cages. They're 70 foot, and so you can do your pitching, your live ABs, and stuff like that. Here will be kind of like a potential weight room at some point. We'll put some weights here, and we'll do kind of our speed and agility either in one of the cages or out back.
Take somebody through the process in terms of they join up. So like right now with fall, you're getting ready to ramp up in the fall. You guys did your tryouts. So what's kind of the process for your teams going through right now?
Yeah, so we started practicing here this week for guys that are playing Labor Day. The guys that are playing past Labor Day will start next week up at Lake Point with you guys. But if you're part of Blaze, you have a membership here, and so you just go onto the website, it's the booking portal, and if you want to hit with your dad or hit with a buddy, you just book up a cage. You come in, you can throw, you can hit whenever you want, as much as you want, as long as there's a cage up there.
Has to be reserved to come in. It's not open.
Right. Yeah, it has to be reserved, so we don't just have 90 people in the same cage, right? But there's a software you go on. You say, hey, I want to hit, and it just shoots you into one of the hitting ones that's open. Okay. So we don't get double booked or anything like that.
Okay. You guys are also obviously you've got some rentals out there with us at Lake Point. So on off days when the weather completely knocks you out with lightning and things like that, you typically will come in here, or?
Yeah, we'll come in here. I mean, I think that's happened. I think all last year happened once with you guys. Obviously with turf field.
Rain is fine. Lightning.
Rain, as soon as it stops, we're back at Lake Point. So we really don't have an issue with that. But yes, if we get canceled, or something like that, we can move teams in here and kind of have them come in and get some swings and pitch and do stuff, and then just kind of cycle them through in and out.
So how many teams do you guys have in the program right now?
We have 14 teams.
Okay.
Anywhere from, so we got 10U up to 16U.
Okay. And what level do your kids typically play at?
Yeah, we've got a few kind of major level teams. We've got a lot of AAA level teams, and then there's a couple AA in there. But usually we try to get to about you try to have a major or high AAA level at each age group, and then a developing team that hopefully guys mature at different times, you get bigger and stronger at different times, and that way they still have the ability to kind of be around those guys, but play at a place where they're going to be competitive and not beat people 15-0, but also not get beat 15.
Right. The tournaments that you'll get into, you're in a mix of everything from Training Legends, Grand Slam.
Correct. We do a lot of Training Legends, a lot of PBR, and a lot of Perfect Game. Fall is kind of like, hey, we're going to play 4 tournaments each. We kind of do a mixed bag of them, see how they compete, and then that way we can kind of game plan for the spring and summer for those guys.
Okay. And in terms of destination tournaments,
what
do y'all do with that?
We didn't do any last year. 2 years ago, we had a few teams that do it, so I kind of pull the parents. When they come in on uniform sizing day, if they want to do if we get 10 or 11 on each team that want to do it, we'll do a destination trip. Cooperstown, 12 is going to go to Cooperstown. A lot of guys, I like Charleston. I've heard good things about Branson. And then obviously the stuff down to Destin.
I never had a chance to go to the shipyard. So.
Yeah, it's really cool. Awesome. It's like a mini Lake Point on the water there. So it's got turf, and they do a good job of not putting 3-4 games in a day there. It's like you got your 1 game a day, so you can kind of enjoy it a little bit.
You're seeing more or less destination type tournaments for folks in this area.
If people ask me for my advice, I say all the baseball's here. Like I don't know why we've gone. You got PBR, you've got Lake Point, Training Legends has grown big. Like all the good teams are coming here. If you want a vacation or do something, you want to go to the beach trip and make it baseball, well, you can. But you're not going to go get better baseball tournaments on a destination.
And you'd be dodging more thunderstorm.
Yeah, you're dodging. Yeah, you go to Florida, you're going to get a lot of rainouts and stuff. Obviously, the Fort Myers and the Jupiter stuff is great. So like if you can do that, that's cool. But if you're just going to a beach trip, I think the good baseball's here.
Well, and we ran into the same thing. We had some of those conversations the past 2 years. As I told you, I'm dealing with high school age kids as well, but we coach at Scout, and it's the same kind of thing. It's like do you want to go somewhere, or do you want to be here? Everybody's coming to you,
right?
And you get to play on good fields, good locations.
You get to sleep in your own bed, right? And it's travel ball is a big financial burden for some people. When you add a travel to it, now it becomes a lot more.
Right.
When again, everybody Nebraska's coming here, Arizona's coming here, California's coming out here. Like everyone's coming to this kind of centrally located area.
Right.
I mean, you gotta get to stay here, stay in your own bed. Yeah.
The investment side, do you mind sharing kind of what your packages are and what the rates kind of are?
It depends, obviously by age group, but you're gonna have a membership and uniform fee that's connected here, and then you've got your dues. So we break it up from kind of a fall due that'll take you through fall and winter, and then there's a spring due that'll take you through spring and summer. And so it ends up being in the $4,000 range, depending on the age group. But that kind of covers. You're going to have 2 coaches pretty much on every team, 2 pro coaches. It's going to cover the Lake Point practices. It's going to cover the tournaments, the indoor facility, and when you kind of get into the older side, I kind of help with the recruiting base on that side for the older guys. But now it's been pushed more to those 17, 18s, no more 16s. I mean, unless you're just really, really good.
Right.
But like kind of talking with Sean, it was transfer portals and guys like that, so they're waiting to see how those phase out.
Well, I noticed, I think on your site you had a commit.
So we're rebuilding we had 9 commits last year, so I've got to rebuild that website. Thank you. Yeah, it was our first Blaze class I graduated. We ended up with 9 commits. And a lot of those guys have been with me since 13, so it's really cool. But we crushed camps fall of 18U going into senior year, and I mean we had those guys doing 3, 4, 5, 6 camps, and that's where they kind of got seen and stuff like that. Rather than just it used to be when I was coming up, hey, you're gonna go play in the World with that. There's gonna be a ton of scouts there. Now it's just so spread out. You got to go to the campuses to kind of get seen.
In terms of philosophy, in taking kids kind of through the younger ages and up through, how many tournaments do you play a year, kind of based on age group, and what to you is too much, and what is the time to kind of be quiet? You're an ex-major leaguer, you know what it takes. So what do I need to do to get there, but also what do I need to do to keep myself healthy?
Right, so we do 4 tournaments in the fall, if this is 14U and under. 4 tournaments in the fall, we'll practice twice a week, we'll be in here in the winter, and then we do 10 tournaments through the spring. And then usually those younger guys are done by kind of mid-June, so that gives them half of June and July and August to kind of recover. I'm different, I wasn't, I pitched a little bit, but I was a position player, so my arm, you know, I didn't need to go through these crazy throwing programs and be shut down or whatever, so I was just going from shortstop. So I played all year round. My dad was phenomenal after every season. Hey man, do you want to take a break? What do you want to do? And it was kind of up to me. I decided not to, and I kept going. And I was a big believer, if I didn't let my arm get out of shape, I didn't have to get it back in shape. Again, I'm not a pitcher. That's a totally different, you know, kind of conversation. But yeah, I was big on, you know, if you look at like the minor league level, those guys play 144 games a year, right? You look at college, they're playing a bunch of games in the spring, they're playing a bunch of games in the summer, they're playing a bunch of games in the fall. So you want to be good at playing games, right? As well as playing on the development side, you want to be practicing a lot. I was a huge fan of practice. Kind of came up in the Mark Elkins era at Harrison. He was like big time on practice. If you can, you know, win the practice, you're going to start winning games. So he was very disciplined, and I love that. My dad was very old school that way too. So it was always practice, then a game. Practice, then a game.
So we were just talking about practices and kind of leading up to it. Obviously, a lot of your kids are of an age that they're kind of at some point getting ready to go through middle school, get ready for high school, get ready for high school tryouts. Take us through a little bit of what you guys do to help kids get ready for those high school tryouts. So and the mental game and as well as the physical
big
game.
time. So like we kind of start preparing for that, you know, at 14U up as you're getting ready for high school, whether you're in 8th grade or a freshman. And my 14U coaches are very, like, I've got Art Evans there, we've got Justin Evans, we've got Austin Brown, and we got Brandon Taylor. So they're very structured based on practice. It's like, hey, this is what a high school coach is looking at. We're going to be hustling on and off the field. We're going to be picking up our players, you know, after the
It's little stuff that you
little
don't
stuff,
think about.
yeah. But it's like that baseball IQ stuff, and then, like, you know, when I was a high school coach, this is stuff I looked at. You know, if I see if he's hustling on the field, he's doing the little things right, well, then the big things kind of take care of himself. So they're very big on, you know, it's going to be a disciplined practice. You know, if you're, you know, doing something wrong, they're going to get on to you about it. Because that's all it takes. You got 6 days in a tryout to stand out. You got to do something more than just, you know, swing the bat here.
Right.
You got to look the part too. So those guys are hammering those practices and making sure, you know, everyone's kind of in the same line, working together. And then our younger side is more of we want to make sure we're probably doing more double cuts and more stuff so that when they get to that 14U age group, they already know what they're doing. You know, whether, you know, we'll do some bunting at 13U, and it's like, well, we don't bunt a lot of games at 13, but when you get to high school, you do. So it's like, well, when are you supposed to learn it? When you get to high school, it's too late. You got to do it kind of before. So we kind of structure them a little bit differently.
Is a lot of, I mean, obviously most of your work is going to be physically going through it. How much time is spent just talking through some of this stuff?
Yeah, I guess that depends on the team and the coaches. I'm a big, you know, I want to get a lot of reps and stuff like that, and then use our time either before practice, get guys there early if we're going to talk some stuff out, or stay after, no problem. I'm a big fan of extra work after. But, you know, once we got, you know, that hour and a half, 2 hours on the field, I want to really pound team defense. We don't hit a ton on the field or anything like that. I think it's, you know, we don't get a lot we hit in the occasion. Yeah, a lot of standing around, right? I'm not a big, we got to do scrimmages and stuff, but I'm not a big fan of it, or live ABs, because it's the pitcher working, it's the hitter working, and everyone else standing around. So we try to do that stuff in here when it's more controlled, or in the cages out at Lake Point. When we have the field, we're hammering our team defense, we're hammering our first and thirds, we're hammering, you know, our ground balls, fly ball stuff.
You said you weren't a pitcher, but you've got guys that do help on the pitching side of this. In terms of getting kids ready for not only through the fall and through the spring, but also for those tryouts, what kind of programs do you put in place, or do you put in place for them?
So I know Justin Evans and Nathan Wolf are going to do some kind of throwing program stuff to gear up for our, you know, probably starting mid-November, give them a little bit of time off from fall, start gearing them up to go into high school tryouts with you know, some velocity training stuff, but making sure your arm's in shape, your mechanics are sound, so you don't go out there and blow your arm out. I was a big believer in, again, making sure my arm is in shape. You know, if I'm trying to make a team or win a starting spot on a high school team, I wanted to be in as close to mid-season form as I could come tryout season, not just ramping it back up at that point. That's when injuries happen, or that's when you're just not at your sharpest. So making sure we're in here November and December and January, you know, your arm's in shape, you're good to go. You're not hitting your max velocity or anything, but you're able to throw, you know, 30, 40 pitches. And good to go from there. And swing-wise, you want to be feeling good. You want to be finding your swing come a tryout time or a week before. Right. You're trying to make a team, or let's say you're good enough to make a team. Now you're trying to win a starting spot.
Okay. What are some of the things that you have seen kind of coming into your program, the change that you might share with parents that you could say, hey, this is what you need to be talking to your kids about, or letting them do, or letting them fail at,
Right.
What's kind of your philosophy along those lines?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've got a lot of really good coaches here at Blaze, so kind of letting them just be coached by those guys. My biggest thing, you know, I was really lucky my dad was an ex-baseball player, so like, you know, I didn't need to go to lessons or do any of that kind of stuff because I had him, but we used to hit, you know, if I practiced twice a week with the team, we were hitting another 3-4 days a week, and I used to just go, we didn't have anything like this, we went up to Oregon Park and hit, right? So I think the biggest thing is, you know, parents, get your kids in here as much as you can. You know, they have a free membership part of Blaze. Just book up cage. Like if you come get 100 swings a day, if you come throw, you know, make sure your arms in shape. Just use it as much as you can.
Right.
That would be the biggest thing I'd tell parents because, you know, again, you get your 2 practices a week, you know, but every other program and every other kid in the world's doing that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're getting better, you're just kind of maintaining if you're doing it twice a week.
Right. What's the one thing that you could say that kind of sets you apart from some of the other programs without talking bad about other
No,
programs?
yeah, I think, I mean, all our programs are very similar, right? If you look at a few of us, we're practicing the same amount of time at Lake Point, or, you know, we all have our own indoor facilities. So it's like very similar. I think, you know, my biggest thing is I'm from this area. I went to high school in this area. I know the high school coaches in this area. I went to the school in this area, and then I played for the hometown team for the Braves, right? So like I think, you know, I've been in this area for a while, and I know, you know, what it takes to be successful here. I think, you know, every single team, every coach here is at least an ex-college baseball player. We've got a lot of ex-pro guys and a lot of ex-college or current college coaches on our staff. So I think we've built it to where we've got the, you know, I think they're the strongest staff anywhere. And then we've got, you know, just a lot of really good families that have been with me for a few years. We're not a big turnover. We kind of try to keep guys, you know, going, and then we can build off those teams and relationships.
Well, and just in the time we've known each other, you've grown a little bit.
Yeah.
You've taken over some other programs as well, so congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. But I
Thank
want to
you.
just say again, thank you for allowing us to come in and kind of take a look and let
Yeah.
the parents see what you do, and congratulations on all the success.
Sir.
I know we'll see you out in the field and out there, but thanks for
Yeah,
having
I
us in here
appreciate it.
today.
Thanks, guys.
How do folks get in touch with you?
Yeah, we're rebuilding our website, so that'll have our socials on there or the email on there. It's just blazebaseballga@gmail.com, you know, or it's kind of blasted out all over Facebook and stuff like that. So if you follow our Blaze Baseball Facebook page, it has all our info there.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
thanks, guys.